Welcome to the latest edition of Beyond the Arc. I'm John Gonzalez alongside our NBA insider, Bill Ryder. A lot of basketball happening. We're doing a little live show here at halftime of Clippers Nuggets. We'll go to Clippers Nuggets later on HQ. But first, the first three games of the night, Bill, two of them were outstanding. Bucks and Pacers. Bucks were up 20 in this game. It looked like they had life, Bill. They were fighting back. And then all of a sudden, here comes Tyrese Halliburton, who looked awesome in the fourth quarter and overtime. At one point between the fourth quarter and overtime, he scored 9 straight points, including the game-winning or the game-tying dunk to send it to OT. And then he hit the game-winning layup at the end to win the game, Bill.
Against Giannis, with Giannis guarding him.
So it was amazing. On both of those plays, Bill, I thought the defense from the Bucks wasn't great. And for them to lose that game when it looked like they were going to pull it away, because, Gary Trent Jr. was huge late. Giannis played an incredible game, did everything you could ask, but what a blow. What a way for the season to end for the Bucks.
Trent Jr. had such a great game, and then he lost that ball that allowed the pace or through his legs. Look, I'm just going to lean into it. I'm not going to pretend that I'm whatever. I think Doc Rivers is awful. It's probably not his fault that they collapsed, but I just found the end of the season to be such a perfect, brutal, awful, painful, I don't know, is it a metaphor? Is it whatever it is for how things have gone since Damian Lillard came on board? I mean, this is a team when he came on board that wasn't that far removed from a championship, and it just feels like at every turn they have seized defeat from the jaws of victory. Some of that's been bad luck with injuries to Dame. Some of that's been bad luck with how long it took Dame and Giannis going back to the start of their association. Not the season before this one, kind of figured it out. They fire Adrian Griffin, even though they had a top 3 offense. I mean, you go through all of it. What a brutal, but John, almost appropriate way for this experiment, this saga, this 2-year debacle to finally come to an end.
If you're Giannis, what other proof do you need that it might be time to move on?
Yeah.
Not even might. From my perspective, it's time to move on. But from Giannis, maybe it's still a might. But he has a triple-double tonight, Bill. He goes for 30, 20, and 13. They had 25 assists as a team, Bill. He had more than half of them by himself. He did everything you could possibly ask for. They were up 20, and they still lose the game in overtime. And then Gary Trent, who starts out 0 for 3 from 3, he ends up with 33 points. He shoots 8 for 17 from distance, 12 points in overtime, almost ties his now franchise record that he shares with Ray Allen in terms of 3-pointers made in a game. And they changed up their starting lineup, Bill. Kuzma and Brook Lopez went to the bench. In come AJ Green and Bobby Portis. They've tried a bunch of different combinations. Earlier in the season, when Dame was there, the highest scoring duo in the NBA, none of it worked. They end up being a first round out again for the 3rd straight season in a bad Eastern Conference. Giannis, I'd be shocked if
you gotta go.
Maybe he wants to do the loyalty thing. Maybe he wants to do the Dirk thing. But after an effort like that, where you can't get past the Pacers in an overtime game that you had in hand, I don't know what else you could need to see.
You know what the takeaway is, and this has been a fact for a while, and it's been obscured by Damian Lillard when he was healthy, even if it didn't always fit. The Bucks are a bad basketball team. They're not a mediocre basketball team. They're not like underachieving. They're a they're not that different than the Denver Nuggets. They're worse than the Nuggets, and Giannis is amazing, but he's not quite Nikola Jokic, right? But we always talk about Jokic carries this team further than he should, and we talk about it because he carried him to a damn championship, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the series against the Clippers, where they can carry him to the second round. The same is true for Giannis. It's just a heavier burden, and he's amazing, but he's not Jokic. And so I'm with you, John. This really crystallized for me. I think we already knew, but it was such a brutal exclamation point of what a terrible situation he's in. I don't know anything other than what you and I have talked about before and what I've reported before. So this is me just responding, speculating. He's got to leave. He's leaving. He doesn't want it. There's no way he wants to be there.
Well, I don't know how you fix this if you're John Horst and you don't move on from Giannis, because as we talked about earlier today on the pod, when you look at the situation objectively and like the assets that they have or they don't have, they've got 80% of their cap through 2027 tied into Giannis and Kuzma, who obviously just got moved to the bench and didn't exactly play well since coming over from Washington. And then Dame, who is about to be 35, will almost certainly miss next season with the Achilles injury. And then coming back, he's going to be coming off an Achilles injury where he's got a $58 million player option. Who is going to want that salary and that injury at 36 years old? That's really difficult.
Yeah, no, it really is. And you and I discussed this, but it's so fascinating that John Horst got extended because he's the guy that put them in this situation to a degree. Now, I also think that him being extended speaks to, and you and I have discussed this, that they trust him for a rebuild. And I think it probably also speaks to the speculation out there that Doc was throwing his weight around, that John Horst didn't burst into the ownership, into the owner's office and say, we got to hire Doc a year and a half ago, right? It might have been a little more politically complicated than that, but there's no good. I mean, I can't think of a time, John, where it's been more clear you had to trade an all-time great in their prime than now. This isn't Kevin Durant approaching 40, right? This isn't Devin Booker, who's really, really good, or whatever examples are out there. This isn't Anthony Davis, who's not at the level of Giannis. I mean, is there a time where you can think of a better player who had to go as good as Giannis?
No,
when they were still in their prime.
No, and if you're Giannis, you should probably want to go, unless you really love Milwaukee that much and you've just decided that that's going to be home base forever. But if you want to, now's the time, because you saw what happened, and Dame has gotten some criticism. Not like, Dame, oh, this is terrible, but Dame waited a little longer than he probably should have to leave Portland. And now on the back end, like, that might really jeopardize his chances to win anything or even come close to winning anything, because now he's got that Achilles. On the other side, Bill, you've got the Pacers, who've just had yet another really good professional season.
I love the Pacers.
You love the Pacers. It's the first time that they've advanced out of the first round in back-to-back seasons since 2013, 2014. Last year, obviously, they go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now they're on a collision course with the number 1 seed, the Cleveland Cavaliers, coming up. Only 3 teams, Bill, since January have been better than your Pacers. It's Oklahoma City, the Cavs, and the Celtics. I'm looking forward to this second round series. I think the Cavs are still the favorites, but the Pacers have been really good at both ends of the floor for a while now. I think it's going to be a fantastic series.
To quote a former editor of mine who was a Southerner and co-founded the Texas Monthly, "You're singing my song, John." That was this guy always said to me, Griffin Smith. "You're singing my song."
Legend.
Hot legend. Hot take alert here, or what will be interpreted as one. There's a non-zero chance that the Pacers make the NBA Finals. It's small, but it's non-zero, and I think it's zero for most teams that entered the Eastern Conference playoffs. They can beat Cleveland. I don't think they will, and it's very, 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 very unlikely they could beat Cleveland and Boston. But they've been amazing since January 1. They've been amazing since December 13th. Why that date? Because if you go back to that date, the sample size gets bigger, and the trend that has continued in 25 is the same. They're so good, man. And you use the perfect term. They're a professional basketball team. They are interestingly and surprisingly effective defensively over that stretch. And we saw today their ability to close out games, hit big shots, Halliburton created for himself. Other guys hit shots. Siakam is, I think, grossly underrated as, to use your term, just a pro's pro. I love the Pacers.
Yeah, and they didn't panic in this game. I mean, again, down 20. No. I didn't feel like they looked like they were worried about this game. And it was back and forth, especially after they closed the gap in the fourth quarter and then in overtime. And Gary Trent was hitting knockout blow after knockout blow after knockout blow. And the Pacers just stayed calm and were like, okay, we're going to figure this out. Where, one of those Gary Trent shots, or 2 or 3, you would think most teams would absolutely fold and pack it in. And again, Giannis got whatever he wanted tonight. And instead, the Pacers just kept coming at you. And credit to Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously a bad summer in the Olympics where he didn't get to play, started out slow again. Everybody's like, what's going on with this guy? He still looks broken. He was super inconsistent. Tonight, he was fantastic. 26 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. We should mention too, was disruptive on the defensive end. 3 blocks and 3 steals. And then both the dunk that he went right down the lane, that, the seas parted and it was an easy one for him, but still for him to be aggressive and look for that to send it to overtime. And then the game winning layup, man, that guy looked awesome in this series.
And with Giannis, if this is Giannis's last game as a Milwaukee Buck, and you have noted that we don't know, what a way for it to go down where you're Giannis and you decide you're one of the best players in the NBA. You're one of the best defensive players in the NBA. And you decide, I've got Tyrese, right? I've got this guy. And he just takes you to the hole and scores the winner and puts you down and ends your Bucks career. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton seems to have responded pretty impressively to this whole most overrated player in the NBA that some of his peers placed on his shoulders.
What a remarkable game by the Pacers. Producer Aaron put something in the chat. I'm going to read this, and I had to ask him if this was right. NBA playoff teams were 0 for their last 1,176 playoff games when trailing by 7 or more with 40 seconds or less left. And guess what? The Pacers now are they just bucked that trend. They won a game.
It is impressive, right? I mean, for Doc Rivers to find new and impressive ways to give up different kinds of playoff leads. Already holds the record for blown playoff series when you're up 3-1. It has a healthy number of blown series when his teams are up 2-0. And he said to himself in the mirror, hold my beer. We're going to be up 7 with 40 seconds. What was the number you just gave? 1,176 coaches before me have held these leads.
They couldn't pull it off. Not enough credit for the one game that the Bucks did win, Bill, as opposed to the 4 games that they lost. Let's take a quick break, and then on the other side, we'll talk about the Pistons are still alive and the Magic are not. We'll do that on the other side. This is Beyond the Arc.
One of golf's elite courses, Quail Hollow, hosts the game's top players at the PGA Championship this May on CBS.
All right, welcome back to Beyond the Arc. The Knicks and the Pistons, Bill. This series has been fantastic. The Pistons win in the Garden. The Knicks were trying to close out a home series. They could not do it. They haven't closed out a series at home, Bill, since 1999 through 5 games. They're still up 3-2, but through 5 games, these two teams are separated by a total of 5 points. And had the refs not booted that call in game 4, it would be even closer. And maybe the Pistons are up 3-2. But either way, it is going back to Detroit. And we got a series.
I got a little aggressive on the CBS Sports HQ hit, and I took the Pistons because Chris Williamson says, who do you got in the series? And you know what? I'm kind of here for it. I'm kind of here for it. They can win at home, and all that pressure, as we discussed on HQ, all that pressure shifts to the Knicks. And we've had this conversation, but I think it bears repeating. Knicks are a failure if they lose in this round, and probably the next round, which they will lose if they advance, probably. Detroit's on house money, baby. Yeah.
They're already feeling the pressure, Bill, because look, tonight, it was a bad shooting night for both teams all around the floor, from the floor and from 3. Nobody shot the ball well, except in one instance. Cade Cunningham made 11 of his 12 free throws, Bill, and that ended up helping them win this game by 3 points. The Knicks, by the way, shot 16 of 27 from the line. So they missed 11 free throws tonight, 59%. And Bill, that is hyper uncharacteristic for the Knicks, because they were the 5th best free throw shooting team in the NBA by percentage this season. I think in a game where everybody's saying, hey, finally they're going to close out at home. They've got momentum. They stole game 4 in Detroit because the ref booted that call on the closeout with Josh Hart and Tim Hardaway. And finally the Knicks are going to do it. And they were bricking free throws. No, as you mentioned on HQ, hey, when Jalen Brunson was sitting because he tweaked his ankle late and Josh Hart was off the floor, where's Karl Anthony Towns? OG hit a big 3, but where's the support cast? Where's
Cat was 1 for 4.
Mikhail had a bad night.
Hit a big 3, I think. But Cat is there to be right. I hate the Batman Robin thing, but there's supposed to be 2 Batmans now. Supposed to have 2 guys. One of them's doing something else, injured, can't get in the game. Tibbs can't get him in. It's Karl Anthony Towns time, man. And the other thing is, and we discussed this, even if they win one of the next 2 games, and they probably will in the series, right? I'm sure the odds favor them, whatever. They're still up 3-2. They're being beat to hell by the Pistons. Josh Hart fell really hard and sad to sit for a minute. We just talked about the fact Brunson was out. It's not a secret that Tom Thibodeau loves to pile on the minutes. These guys look tell me if I'm reading too much into it, John. They look exhausted. It's the 6th. It's the 5th game of the playoffs, and they look like it's June for the 5th time in a row. These aren't the Warriors when Durant got hurt and Clay got hurt, and they have just been doing this year after year after year. Why are they look so frayed, and that's a huge problem.
They did look frayed. The bench scoring wasn't as bad of a gap tonight as it normally is. Pistons outscored the Knicks bench by 6, so it wasn't as bad. However, Asar Thompson really came to play tonight. Not only he's generally a very good defender, just like his brother Amen, but I think Amen is a much better offensive player. Neither of them can shoot, but tonight he goes for 22 and 7. Tobias Harris played a little bit, 17-8. And then, as I mentioned, Cade Cunningham, not efficient, but 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, a block, and then got to the line a bunch, 12 times, made 11 of them. That was the difference. Those guys found a way to score and win and stay ahead. And the Knicks did look tired.
Tobias Harris, by the way.
Yeah.
Professional, you used this term earlier in the pod, professional player, not afraid to take some big shots. If he gets the right matchup, he'll back down whoever's on him. I keep thinking of you when I see him playing well. And you've said this. What is with guys leaving the six? When he went to the Pistons, we all laughed. Like, oh, what a bunch of idiots. What is in the water in Philadelphia, man?
This has been a point of contention in Philadelphia. People have talked about it ad nauseum that when he was in Philadelphia, he frequently just would no-show. And then he leaves and goes to a Pistons team with 14 wins. And now all of a sudden, in successive seasons, Bill, he's playing the Knicks in the postseason, and he has a better shot to get past the Knicks with the Pistons this year than he did to get past the Knicks last year with Joel Embiid and the Sixers. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, he played almost 44 minutes. He played really good defense. He had 17 points, 8 rebounds, couple assists. He had 2 steals and 4 block shots. He only turned the ball over once. He played a really professional, top-tier, playoff, whatever you need, Swiss Army knife basketball game. It's crazy, man.
So now you're the Knicks. You're going back to the scene of the crime, Detroit, where you stole Game 4. The Pistons still have not won a home game playoff game since 2008. As you mentioned, they're going to have a lot of pressure. The Pistons didn't really have pressure coming into this series. They were playing with house money. They're obviously going to have the momentum going back. They're going to have the home crowd going back. What do you think the Game 6 will be like? And I know that you picked the Pistons to win this series, but man, I want to force Game 7 so badly.
Physical, low scoring. I think it'll be jittery on both sides. It's hard to close teams out. And I was thinking about the pressure, right? Obviously, there's pressure on the Knicks' expectations. We discussed it. I think Tom Thibodeau gets fired. I think the odds that he gets fired become very high if they lose in the first round by blowing a 3-1 series lead. And we know he grips too tight, right? He plays. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't pulled a JJ Redick yet, but he plays like the minutes are too much, and there's an intensity that is a part of his magic. But guys will tell you it can be a little much. Or he doesn't have work-life balance. He doesn't believe in that. And so if even if the Pistons are in that game at the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter, I think it's going to feel like hell or high water for the Knicks. And how they respond is going to be really interesting.
If you're the Knicks and you win win 50 games in back-to-back seasons for the first time in forever, and you flame out in the second round last year, don't get to the conference finals, and then you don't even make it to the meeting in the second round that this year that everybody has been highly anticipating between Boston and the Celtics. We'll get to the Celtics in just a second. If the Pistons come back from down 3-1 and the Knicks flame out here, somebody's going to be held accountable. And it very well could be
not Leon Rose.
It's not going to be Leon Rose. They're not going to trade any of the guys that they acquired. It's not going to be Karl Anthony Towns or Jalen Brunson. And it's not going to be Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. Yeah, I mean, somebody's head's going to have to roll here.
I'm getting ahead of myself, but how good would that job be? I mean, how amazing. It's the best job open in a long time.
Situation would not be great.
But I think Leon's a buffer now, right? It feels like maybe
that could be. I'll tell you that the Celtics, who are moving on, are going to be big-time Pistons fans because now they get to rest a little bit.
Yeah, they are.
So they ended up beating the Magic in a gentleman's sweep tonight, Bill. And you know what? The Magic, we knew what was going to happen with the Magic coming into tonight's game and coming into the series, that they were going to try to limit the Celtics from distance. And they did a great job of it the entire series, and especially tonight, Bill. The Celtics only took 24 three-pointers tonight. And as you pointed out, and we discussed on HQ, didn't matter because the Celtics just pivoted and went, okay, well, we're going to score a bunch of points in the paint. We're going to get points off of turnovers. And then in the second half, when the game was tied in the 50s, Bill, they end up winning this game going away by 31 points. Because all of a sudden the Celtics got some three-pointers to drop, and the Magic went 8 for 30. The Magic shot 38 threes, so 14 more than the Celtics shot, but they only made 8. They're just so offensively challenged, and they tried their best. They played great defense, and they still got run.
Are they still one of your 14 teams? Are they still in the mix? Are they still in the
I'd
club?
I'd even graduate them to one of my 13 teams, one of my 12
I mean-
teams. They've been boosted up. Yeah.
By the way, and then we talked about this on HQ, they are so close to being extraordinary. They are
They
so
need
close.
shooting. They're so
They need
desperately in
shooting.
need of shooting.
How did you feel about? So I was pitching to Kevin Durant, who's clearly watching CBS Sports
Yeah.
HQ in his offseason. So just consider Orlando. No state income tax. I think the East is easier. You can argue it's not because it has 2 elite teams, not 1, but it's easier. I mean,
Sure.
after the Cavs and the Thunder or the Celtics, it's easier. Does that make sense? Does that track for you? If you're Kevin Durant, they're on the list of considerations, aren't they?
It certainly tracks for the Magic. They would love it. But yeah, I mean, like
Yes,
if you're
it does.
Kevin Durant and you're looking for a good young team with an outstanding defense, and yeah, the no state income tax thing is very attractive. I think maybe just in terms of like pedigree, if you're going to go to a Florida team, maybe the Heat are a little bit more attractive.
Would you rather go to? I think Orlando's better, man.
I mean,
they're a better team.
Well, yeah, but Miami as a city and a draw. And I mean, they do have Bam. Bam is a very good defensive player, and Tyler Hero. Everybody's mileage varies on that guy. He's a Rorschach test. I like Davion Mitchell. Yeah, I hear you.
I don't even think it's close. If I'm Kevin Durant and I'm choosing a team, I'd much rather go basketball. I lived in Miami, so I covered the. So I'm with you. Miami's special. It's a special place, but if he's ring chasing, right, it's different than some of the things you can chase in Miami. The nightlife, the fun, the drinks, whatever. I think it's Orlando all day. For me.
If you're the Magic, priority 1 in the offseason is finding some shooting to help Wagner and Banchero with the spacing because it's super clunky. It gets all mucked up. There's nobody there who can shoot. They thought it was going to be KCP. It hasn't really been KCP. They need a guy who can play at both ends on the wing and then maybe a stretch big to help there. But now the Celtics are moving on. Not a surprise. Bill, between the Pistons and the Knicks, if you're the Celtics, who would you rather say?
Oh, wow. I mean, it's a good question. I'll give you a good answer. I don't think they give a you-know-what. I think deep down, they know they're winning. I think you'd rather see the Pistons, probably, right? Although, I paused there.
The inexperience.
Yeah, but they're physical, and they're going to make you feel them, but it doesn't matter. I think the only thing you want, if you're looking for like a choice, is not to play the Cavs. Right? Like if someone can take the Cavs out for you, then it's smooth sailing. Otherwise,
which I don't think will happen. The Pacers, though, are going to give them a run. It's going to be a really good series. I think that series will be much better than whoever the Celtics end up facing because the Celtics have so many different ways to beat you. As producer Aaron points out, tonight they made 0 threes in the first half. It's the first playoff half for them without a 3 since 2015, and they still finish better than 50% from 3, 13 of 24 tonight. They're just a really good team, and we'll see who they play in the next round. But now they get a little time off.
Can I shout out the Magic for executing a strategy and warn the rest of the league that it doesn't matter? In the regular season, as we know, the Celtics shot the most threes of any team in NBA history. They shot 48.2 threes per game. They shot 48 of them. They were held to 31.2. Exactly 17 fewer threes per game. Orlando, and they were the best team in the NBA this year at preventing the opposition from shooting in terms of volume of 3-point shooting. They did a great job of just stopping teams from doing that in an era where that's one of the main goals. And it didn't matter. The Celtics didn't execute their Joe Mazzulla secret sauce recipe, and it didn't matter.
Do you think the Cavs have any shot of mimicking that should they meet in the Eastern Conference Finals? Because the Cavs do, some people don't realize, if you're not paying as close attention, they have a top 10 defense. Now, they're not nearly as good on perimeter defense as the Magic, but the Magic are kind of like uniquely amazing on perimeter defense because they have so many big bodies that can guard out on the wings. Like when you see Jonathan Isaac guarding out on the 3, it's like, my God, he's like almost 7 feet. Like, how are we supposed to shoot over this guy? The Cavs do have really good defensive personnel, but they're not as big on the perimeter as the Magic are.
I think that they can. I think there's a world where they can do a pretty good job on that, and they can make up whatever difference there is by shooting a lot of threes themselves. And I think this is for down the line. I think Donovan Mitchell is more than capable of having crazy games where he closes the gap himself, where he puts up 45.
I don't want to jump ahead too far, but like everybody else, I'm thinking about what would it look like Cavs versus Celtics. But
I mean,
first,
we're
we'll see
gonna
who the
get there.
Celtics. Well, we probably will get there, but
Probably.
first we'll see who the Celtics get in the next round, and then we'll also see what happens with the Cavs and the Pacers. I think that's going to do it for us tonight. You and I got to run and go catch the end of Clippers and Nuggets that's coming down to the end of the third quarter here. And then if anybody wants to join us, Bill and I will be live on CBS Sports HQ following the conclusion of Clippers and Nuggets. And then we'll be back tomorrow night live on YouTube. Sam Quinn and I will be, maybe Bill, if he wants to join us, gets a wild hair, will be up after game 5 of the Lakers and the Wolves. Who knows? Bill's got some wine in his future.
Wait, what's going on? All right, dude, what's going on? You guys are doing a show tomorrow night?
Well, after Lakers and Wolves, we're going to do a little live show.
Look at you guys.
But I have HQ after. Maybe you have HQ. The schedule's all mucked up because it's the playoffs, but we'll see what happens. I think I do. But we'll discuss it. But you're more than welcome to join us for that one.
Love the invitation. I'll be watching.
Are all of you come and join us live on CBS or on YouTube? You can find us at Beyond the Arc CBS. But for now, for our NBA insider Bill Ryder, I am John Gonzalez. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.